All right, let's talk about Arch. Let's talk
Nick.
about the partnership.
So
What's up,
just
guys?
to give everybody, a little bit of a rundown on what Debauchery is doing. So, Operation Choke Point 3.0 is a concerted effort to try to obtain trading tools partnerships. The first mission of Choke Point 3.0 is Arch Network. Essentially, what we're going to do here is if you hold 5 frogs or more, you hold the mercenary role within the Discord, you'll get access to the engineer rank of Arch's platform and their portal. So we wanted to have Nick up here to explain. He was on, was it last week you were on, Nick? Or was that the week before?
Yeah, like I think 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, to talk a little bit more about Arch Network and also about the campaign you guys have coming up. I'm not sure how much of that's public and based on what you told me, but you can disclose whatever you feel comfortable with. Take the floor.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'm the CMO for Arch, Nick for Izos. And yeah, so basically, first, I just wanted to say that Pete has done an awesome job with his collection. We're actually partnering and we post it on our Twitter as well. But people who have engineer status actually participate in a raffle today to be able to get a mint on the new collection. And it's sick, guys. It's gonna be awesome. And by the way, Pete, you gave us 25 slots, and we've more than filled that with people interested in it. And we only open it up to our people who are our engineer status or higher in our Archstronaut program. And so those are people who, typically have some ordinals or runes collections already. They're a little higher level and they've done some of the missions and been really participating. I think it's our rank 3 or 4. So pretty far along. And just in that smaller select group, we still have had a ton of submissions and oversubscribed it. We'll send those addresses to you later today. A little bit of alpha here for anyone who's participating in the Astronauts program or is interested in it. Of course, it's our points program. We're doing a lot of social engineering. The last few weeks we've been doing that as we lead into testnet, which is most likely actually happening next week. So we're going to have the Saturn DEX as our first launch. And just so people who don't quite know what Arch Network is, we're a bridgeless execution platform for Bitcoin. If you want to think of us a little bit as like a layer 1.5, we actually create a lot of trustless use cases. And then for like more complicated DeFi, there are some trust minimized use cases that essentially just put trust momentarily in our decentralized verifier network. So this is as close as Bitcoin native programmability possible that will allow for Solana like speeds and things like that while still keeping it in UTXOs and into things that actually work with runes, ordinals, and everything like that. So we're super excited. We think it's going to unlock the liquidity that Bitcoin has long had, but hasn't been able to use in a really effective way, which is what we were talking about earlier. So that's what Arch is doing, and we have the points program. And specifically, I'm super stoked about the partnership with Debauchery. I was one of the people who bought 5 frogs like on day one as soon as it launched and was super just excited to be part of the community. Thanks, guys, for working with a noob trader like me. I'm definitely learning the ropes. I definitely rode a 7K gain the other day when Bitcoin was pumping. I rode that down to a 1K loss through leverage, so that was fun. But
Welcome. Welcome.
yeah,
You're in the right
yeah, yeah.
place.
See, learning the lessons, exactly what you were saying, and I should have taken profits. But it was really fun for me to go through that first process. But yeah, we're doing this really great launch with Debauchery, where if you own 5 frogs, you're part of the war room, you got mercenary status, then you can join our dashboard. If you own certain major ordinals collections already, you're going to get an onboarding bonus immediately, which will get you up to a higher rank. And if you don't, but you own frogs, then you can go to our community missions tab, click on that one, and if you have the 5 frogs, it'll verify you and give you engineer status. And what that is useful for is you're going to get access to a lot of different opportunities, but one of the big ones that's coming up is our whitelist Genesis auction. So just a ton of perks for you guys, and the War Room Debauchery is such a great group and highly recommend.
Thanks, Nick. I'm super excited too, man. I've been doing a little bit more due diligence, which is not great due diligence because I'm lazy, but I've been talking to people who know a lot more than I do, a lot more technically savvy than I do, and I've become pretty uber bullish on Arch, ignoring the fact that we're partnering, like that, all that aside. I'm super excited. Obviously, the Bitcoin on DeFi and Bitcoin thing is like something I've been hearing since Ordinals first started, and it's been like a false promise. In my opinion, it got a little bit, what's the word, pessimistic about like whenever I'd hear that. Say, yeah, whatever, okay. But I think you guys are actually might do it, and obviously that's super exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about like obviously you're having a whitelist auction, so you guys are going to have a token. Is that correct?
Yeah, obviously, our main goal here is to tap into the full liquidity of Bitcoin, right? And everyone's been talking about that forever, and it's a $1.6 trillion asset now. How do we actually get this liquidity flowing into runes, ordinals, and other asset classes within Bitcoin? How do you start getting interest? How do you get DeFi loans like Liquidium, all that stuff, right? And it's such a tricky trade-off process for most that it didn't quite work. And what we saw is all these bridge-based options, stacks, some other L2s. And we like the guys at stacks a lot because we think more than most, unlike Bob or some of these other ones, Botanics. You're actually driving fees back to the Bitcoin miners. You're as close to the Bitcoin ecosystem as you can be, but you're still an L2 and you're still having to bridge into it. And so we've done, and this goes to answering your question a little bit about how it works, but essentially we've created a way where Arch does allow you to bridgelessly access a lot of DeFi, especially if you're like someone who's just looking to do some trades and transactions, right? So like runes are going to be tradable without you having to buy in packages and lots, right? And that's going to be super, just a huge unlock.
Damn.
You don't have to take any trust assumptions outside of Bitcoin when you're buying those things or when you're, because there's not like the slippage. My first fun experience of having half my purchase disappear when I tried to buy some runes in Xverse, right? That's going to be disappearing as we unlock this with Arch. So on one hand, you've got the trustless execution, and that is just Bitcoin with the aid of our execution. Then you've got stuff where, of course, like if you're going to have to hold anything for a loan or for if you're selling something and there's conditional smart contract execution, then what we have created is a frost and roast framework for multi-sigs. I won't go into all the details, but essentially the most secure way to do that possible while still basically pushing against any sort of takeover attack or anything like that. And with that decentralized verifier network and that multi-sig system, we can actually allow for Solana-like speeds, and that's actually what the VM is based on. So when you're in the Arch VM and you're doing those types of activities and you're speeding up the process, you can go as fast as you want. We're working on a pump.fun kind of thing. We're working on some other degen activities, a graffiti wall where all you nasty people can put your nasty shit up there, and hopefully the feds don't come and shut it down. But we're working on a good mix of stuff that allowed us to really benefit from this extra speeds that Arch can do. And so what that really allows is this experience where you get to choose your adventure, you get to choose what works for you and your trust assumptions. And regardless, either way, whether you're doing it with the Arch SPL, with the Arch token standard, which would wrap around that faster transaction speed environment, if you're doing that, or if you're doing just simple UTXOs through Bitcoin settlement at the same speeds, either way, it's still safer because neither of them require bridging in the traditional sense. If you look at an L2, traditionally, you have to trust the bridge in, you've got to trust the execution environment inside there, and then you got to trust that bridge out. And any of those steps you can get fucked on. If you look at the Ethereum and Solana ecosystem, the concern used to be that the verifier network would get overrun or something back in 2016, 17 when people were debating this stuff. That really hasn't been the case. The biggest issue has been bridging. That's been where these major hacks have happened, is in the bridge process. And so for us, unlike with an L2, you don't have to trust a bridge in. It's just sent through a UTXO, and through our system, we pick that up. And if you are going to trust our network for certain transactions, it's just in that VM, the Arch VM itself. Just like you have to trust a Stacks VM to process it, you trust a Arch VM to process it. It spits it back out, and if you want to finalize and put it on Bitcoin, then at the end it settles on Bitcoin. And it's pretty great. I guess the biggest thing is that it's going to allow more liquidity to flow because you can connect the dots between runes, ordinals, and really any of these other token standards while working within the Arch VM and Arch system.
Damn, that's awesome. I have to say, Solana like speeds, it's sad because I've gotten so used to things fast that if it's not a Bitcoin L1 transaction, which obviously is slow, if it's not as fast as Solana, I like found myself like getting annoyed. Like, I'm not sure. Like, what I mean, I don't really use ETH mainnet all that much anymore, unless I'm just like sending Tether or Stables to something to back and forth or whatever. There's not really many trades I've taken on there. And I noticed that ETH mainnet used to be pretty quick settlement, and for some reason there's like a wait, and I assume that's an ETH 2.0 thing where you have to wait like 30 seconds to a minute and 30 seconds for like your transaction to confirm. I was so annoyed by it the other day. So Solana like speeds on Bitcoin, that's incredible. I have to say, you might have just royally fucked up though by telling us about the graffiti wall. You should have not said that in debauchery. That you fucked up so bad. Oh my
This
god, you
is the
fucked up.
crowd for it. This is the audience, but yeah, we're deeply looking into some filtering solutions for you degenerates, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure
As
it out.
as much as I'm against censorship for the sake of your like freedom from jail, you might have to do something, especially when you say that in the Discord group. You might have to do some censoring.
I love it, guys. I love
So,
it.
does anybody have any questions? Anybody in the audience want to come up and ask Nick any questions about Arch? Feel free to raise your hand. We'll go ahead and bring you up. No one ever does. Whenever I say this, no one ever raises their hand.
Dude, thanks again, Nick, by the way, because I know this is the second time we've had you in 3 weeks. Thank you for coming up again and talking to us about Arch. Well, yeah, and I know that you don't have a lot of time currently, so we appreciate you taking the time
It's
today.
all good. It's my pleasure. And yeah, I always tell people like the reason why I like Ornos collections or any sort of group like this is like the art is great and I love good art, but what really is a lot harder to replace is good company and the right people. And so I'm willing to pay to be. And when I was a journalist, it was all about being in the flow of information. I always tell people if you can be in the flow of information, you can make decisions and do a lot more than if you're not. So
Absolutely, man. It's valueless.
you know, I
And
appreciate everyone.
one thing that people say a lot about communities is like they're like communities have had like a bad rap, like trading communities, because there's this kind of notion that if you were that good of a trader, why do you have to have a community? Why aren't you just trading? But what a lot of and I guess that can be true if you're talking about like a signals group where you're like following one person and you're like relying on their like signals or one person's calls, so to speak. But what was taught to me very early on, luckily this was like before I even got into crypto, I learned I was watching a video of somebody who ended up being one of my mentors and taught me how to trade. Greg was also in this group, is that it is valueless to have a community because you simply cannot see everything that's happening in the market. It's not possible. There's too much information, there's too much data. And if you want to get a real edge on the market, doesn't matter. You could have a Bloomberg terminal, you could have fiber optic internet, you could be the best trader in the world, but you are going to outperform yourself if you're with a collective of people because more eyes on the market is more information and you can distill that down into easily understandable data which you can take action on. So it's incredibly valuable to
It,
have a
it
community.
It is. And I was telling somebody this the other day. There was a smaller group that I was in and they were like, "Why are you even in here if you don't participate?" And it's because I have always been one of those people. I also learned really early on that knowledge is power, and even if you get actionable alpha every single day and you decide not to act on it, I would still rather have that information than not have that information because at least the option is there to do something, right? I don't really fuck with meme coins all that much like on Solana. And there's a lot of shit that's happened on ETH that I don't really pay attention to anymore like I used to. But I would rather have that knowledge than not have that knowledge. It's like the people that say, "Oh, I don't know if I should post something because what if it ends up doing poorly?" It's like, my brother in Christ, I do not give a fuck if you post 15 rugs in a row. I want as much information as possible for me to make that decision. Like, I don't need you to make that decision for me and say, "Oh, I think this is a buy." Like, I just want to have all that information available. And then, yes, having the community to be able to like take it apart and say, "Okay, what do all of you guys think about this?" And you're not just in an echo chamber, right? Certain communities can become that, but I feel like in the war room, everybody has such different trading styles and different approaches to things that it very rarely becomes an echo chamber unless we're talking about Gizmo.
P, I
Yeah,
think that's a good point on the. I think it's a good point on the false kindness kind of thing, where we're like afraid to share anything because what if it goes wrong? And you just gotta let people choose for themselves, but they can't make the choice if you don't give them the option, right? So it's that part. And then secondly, I just say it's also just more fun doing it as a group. And so you can do it by yourself. Doing it in a group, I've just been enjoying kind of seeing the conversation, the camaraderie, and yeah, there's a specific moment I was trying to think of, but yeah, anyway, it's just more fun when you can do it as a community rather than be out here and when we're all just sitting in front of our computers anyway, just scrolling and mindlessly refreshing. We might as well do it together.
crypto especially because I feel like with the stock market, if you're trading stocks, there's a ton of people you can just meet in your day-to-day life and talk with about stocks or the market. They might not know what the hell they're talking about, but a lot of people are in the stock market and like are want to talk about it. I don't think I've there's like a handful of occasions where I haven't been at a cryptos like in my day-to-day life, not at a crypto centric event where like anyone is even 1% as involved in this space as me. So if you don't have a community, man, who the hell are you talking to about the double life that you're living? You know what I mean? Which is the crypto life. If you're really deep into it, you got to find some people to talk to because otherwise you're just on an island. There's no one else out there that I've run into in the real world just by accident that's anywhere close to doing what we're doing over here.
Yeah, because if you don't have a community, then you just end up being that one asshole at Thanksgiving and Christmas that tells your relatives to buy Bitcoin, and everybody says you're an idiot and it's a scam. So
Think about how many more family members we can rug if we all do it together. You know what I mean? We can rug every family in America.
Dream team. Just one more note here, and I'll stop yapping. But I did want to say, coming into the Bitcoin space about 3 or 4 months ago, I've been writing in crypto and working with companies for 4 years now. But coming to Bitcoin, it is its own community. It's a very special ecosystem. It's very different. It feels like the early days of programmability on like an ETH or something, where it's like a small community doing something that hasn't been done. And I gotta be honest, like joining the group and also just having conversations. I'm this, nerdy former journalist who has his PFP as himself and doesn't quite know all the lingo yet. But I think it's important not to let that stop you from opening yourself up to the opportunity and just being honest. And I'd much rather be authentic about what I do and don't know than try to front with you guys. But I also appreciate you guys being willing to take this somewhat normie headed individual whose biggest investor model in the past was I owned some real estate because I was very conservative, very safe, and letting me post all my losses in your chat to feel good about yourself. So I appreciate that. And I just appreciate that you guys, are willing to work with me and my quirks and to go to like people. What if it doesn't work out? Are people going to judge us or can people attack me, like blame me? I think about that with Arch too. Listen, like we're trying to do something really fucking difficult and that's okay. I'm all right with that. But it's something where you see the FUD that OpCat gets because a lot of people don't think OpCat will ever happen, or you see some of the, like you said, Zero, like how you've gotten your hopes up in the past, it hasn't worked out, right? Look, if we fail, like it could happen, right? I don't believe it will, but it could happen. And I'm okay with that as long as we fucking gave it a good shot and we were open and transparent with people
Dude,
along the way about our process.
I am so much more bullish on Arch now than I was before. I told some people on the spaces this morning that Arch is the alpha because a lot of people in that space had never heard of you guys before. But that is the shit that I want to hear, like from my founders. Obviously, dude, you're bullish on what you're doing. And I think if you're building every day, obviously you're bullish on what you're creating. But I love when I hear founders that are just brutally honest like that. They're like, look, we could fail. Like that could fucking happen. Because yes, like in this market, there's so many uncertainties and anything can fucking happen. But yeah, I really like hearing that because that's one of the things that I've said a ton is you have people that are so scared to take the plunge into the market, right? Whether they're creating something like an actual platform like you guys are building or they're launching a small collection, but they're so scared of failure because failure is magnified so much in our space because of how small it is. The failures are very public, right? And there's some people that are super fucking negative about it, and that's okay. Like when you put yourself in the public domain like this, you are opening yourself up to those criticisms. But seeing people not want to take the chance because they're scared of failure sucks. I love seeing projects that take chances and founders that take chances even if they don't work out. It's like when you watch a movie and you're just like, oh my god, like I've seen the same Marvel movie 116 times, right? But then you see this movie where they swing for the fucking fences and they try to do something different, and maybe it doesn't all come together as this cohesive thing at the end, but you appreciate the hell out of somebody going out there and doing something different. And so I just have a lot of love and respect for any project and any founder that's out there doing something like that. And because if you are a founder, you know that things don't always work out the way you want them to. Even if you're a fucking trader, trades don't pan out the way you want them to sometimes, man. There's all of these things that are out of your control. So yeah, I just love everything that you just fucking said, Nick. And I am I am just more bullish on Arch now than I was 10 minutes before you said that. What's up, Matt? Do you have any questions for Nick or for me or for Zero? I know you don't have any questions for Barbie because nobody has questions for Barbie.
Oh, that's not very nice.
That's not nice at all. Fuck you, Pete.
No, we fucking love Barbie.
No, I just got off a long call that went over. So sorry I'm late, guys, but it sounds like there was a bit of openness going on. What happened? What I miss?
We were talking about how we're all gonna rug our family during the holidays.
I don't know about rugging, but I've got some pups merch that I'm going to be gifting my family. So there's going to be signs that our bags are pumping for sure. I think that this is the last week has been maybe pre-euphoric. I don't want to start tempting the gods here, but this is all positive stuff that I'm seeing here, guys. What do you think?
Oh, dude, you're the fucking CEO of Arch. Holy shit. Hey, welcome to the stage, man. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. I just clicked your profile. I'm assuming you were talking about what Nick said. No, Nick just came up here and, told us everything about the incredible shit y'all are building and just flat out said that, even if it doesn't work out, like we're giving it 110%. And it's just like cool to see that kind of honesty, man, because so many founders are worried about appeasing the masses and not saying things that could potentially step on their toes or kind of hurt their public image. And I, for one, just appreciate brutal honesty like that.
For sure.
Yeah,
Seconded.
100%. Yeah, I think building in public and being candid and honest and authentic is really the policy that we have at Arch. And you get to see some of our team at these conferences, like Nick and myself and Pat and Nez from the business development team. But a lot of credit needs to go to the builders that are behind the scenes that don't get to see and speak on some of these panels and spaces that are working their asses off behind the scenes. And these guys are talented as hell, man. We've got Brian Hoffman, who's a Bitcoin OG and came from the Kraken team to come work on this project with us. And I think it's a testament to the talent that Amin and the rest of the team have. And we're just going to keep scaling and growing and being open and with the stage of where we're at. And Nick said that building in public, I think that you can expect more of the same from us and everybody else that's building on Arch.
We're all stoked, man. I can't wait to try it out and see what ends up happening with the platform. And I think it couldn't be a better backdrop with the tailwinds that we have from obviously the new administration and potentially a new openness to innovation within the US and then having a programmable side of Bitcoin and applications that can launch without people being like like more feeling like they're less nervous to do, especially here in the States. It's very exciting, man, and it couldn't be happening at a more perfect time, in my opinion.
We're probably gonna wrap it here because we try to keep these at an hour. But if anybody has any last minute questions for Nick, Matt, or anybody else, now's your chance. You can leave it in the comments too if you want. If you don't, I know a lot of people are weird about hopping on spaces, which I don't totally understand because it's just a really great way to network and communicate things with people. But if not, then we're probably just going to wrap it here.
Remember, guys, Friday, ordinal pizzas. If you have five frogs, make sure you hop on to the Arch Network portal, link in the Discord, link on their Twitter, obviously. If you don't have five frogs, you should buy five frogs. Oh, we got Stella. Stella's up.
Yeah, we're not going to rug Stella. What's going on, Stella?
No,
How are you doing?
Stella
What's
needs a
going
five frog.
on? Here she comes again with her questions. Right?
Oh fuck! All right, Zero, kill the spaces, man. No, how you doing today, Stella?
Stop it. I'm doing great. It's just a technical question about the wallet connection because I have other ordinals in a different place and I didn't know about them gaining XP. I just thought about the frogs. Can you connect multiple wallets or it's just they all have to be in the same address?
So we are exploring solutions to try to get multiple wallets connected. You're not the first person to bring this up and want to take advantage of the XP that you could be earning by some of the ownership that you have in various wallets. So we're speaking with Matrica about this to see if that's a solution for us. Also, just the back end team has some ways where we can do some tweaks on the back end for the dashboard where we can allow for this sort of thing. So that's TBD, but certainly working on it. And if you're not able to get that XP, trust me, there's going to be plenty of opportunity to get enough XP to get that rank up. And I don't know if Nick shared the alpha about how points are supposed to be farmed with respect to the testnet here, but the XP is not what the airdrop is really being considered for. It has some consideration with respect to the multiplier that you get, but the real sauce, the real stuff that you want to be farming is going to be this on-chain points for the activity that you're going to be getting doing the Saturn missions as well as some of these other on-chain missions. That's going to be the much more important thing. If we can't get you that extra XP, then there's going to be other opportunities. But yeah, I would much more be focused on the OR type of points, that's what it's called. It's called OR. We're going
Understood.
to be
Thank you.
dropping
Thank
some more
you.
information about this in the coming days and weeks.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
and
Thank
just to
you.
add on that real quickly, if you do really want the XP, you can put it all in the same wallet and you will get credit for it. And then you can disseminate it if you need to. So you should be good. But yeah, it's something we're working on.
Also, guys, just so you know, we're going to be hosting Discord stages with the folks from Arch Network. And also, if you have any specific questions, technical, outside of the spaces, instead of waiting once a week, feel free to hop in. Nick's always in there, so you can shoot them a DM. And again, we'll be having some AMAs within our Discord as well. If anybody has any questions.
Hey, Zero, I had something I wanted to ask you, and I was going to DM it to you, but fuck it, since we're on here, I can just ask you now. I had a project reach out to me today and said, hey, I know you're affiliated with Debauchery. A lot of my holders are interested in getting more into trading. Would you guys ever consider doing like some kind of AMA, regarding trading styles and trends and stuff like that? So I'm just like, I'm not specific to that project, but I'm just curious, would we ever be down to do something like that? Maybe hosting like a Discord AMA or running a spaces that just talks about like our different trading styles and stuff?
100%, man. Yeah, and I just haven't done it yet because I've been busy trying to secure some partnerships and drive some value. But the plan is also to put out a lot of video content. This is going to be within the Discord, obviously, but it's more educational in the sense of like looking for setups, um, actual like as if somebody didn't know how to do these things rather than just posting a call, because posting a call doesn't really help if you don't actually know how to trade. So it's some videos that are more educational in content, but just in general, yeah. I mean, I'm more than happy to go on there. I'm sure Greg is, and we have some other swing traders. I'm sure would
Well,
be happy to go on.
yeah, because I mean, we definitely have a lot of new people, it seems like, coming into Debauchery that aren't maybe the most seasoned traders. So I just thought that it
Yeah.
could be a cool thing to maybe run one big AMA or one spaces and just have Hawk up, because obviously Hawk and I trade like we're singles and doubles guys, not home run guys. And then have guys like Clow up, Lock, and all of those guys, and really just highlight the different trading styles, market trends, all of that stuff. And I think it would be really beneficial to a lot of people in the space.
What was the project, if you don't mind me asking? If not, you can DM it to me if you don't want to tell me now.
Yeah, I'll DM it to you, because they just said that they want their holders with the market heating up to be.
Was it do you not want to tell me because it was like OXBT or
It's
something?
a big no, it's a big project. It's a project that all of us are super fucking bullish on. But I don't
See.
really like airing things out publicly when I wasn't given the okay to do so. Yeah, of course it's fucking BitConnect, man. It was actually Nick and Matt from Arch. Don't tell them I said anything. Okay. Don't tell them I said anything though. But yeah, like but yeah, I just think I fucking hell. But I actually think it is a really good idea, man, because I think the most important thing as we go into this next cycle with ordinals and runes and stuff is it's so easy to just follow people, but knowing how to trade properly, I think, is really fucking important. So if we can help shine a line on that, I think we should definitely do that, because we have the platform now to do so. Yeah, that's dope. I assumed you would say yes, but I just wanted to pitch it and actually put the screws on you, because if you say no, then you look like a massive asshole. No, I'm just kidding, man.
Publicly? Yeah, good idea. Solid.
Yep.
Good move.
Send the frogs to fucking zero. Also, one other thing, I think it's super fucking cool to note, because obviously I'm super bullish on the frogs and Debauchery in general. I think we're the only ordinal in the ecosystem that actually has a supply shock programmed, because people are now buying frogs when they hit wins, and just because they're bullish on Debauchery. And so I just think that's a super fucking cool thing, because you have that at play, and also you have to have 5 to get into the war room, right? So eventually there's just a point where you're going to have this fucking squeeze, because there's just not going to be enough frogs available on the market for people to partake in what we're doing in Debauchery.
Not to push this out too much longer, but I will say it's just really crazy how this whole project has come to be, because you would think that this was all like really well thought out and planned, and it 100% was not. Not even a little bit. But everything that it's just from the inception of this thing, the way that we structured the Discord, it's okay. I think this would work. I have no evidence to show why it would work, but my intuition is saying that this would be a cool way to do it. And it turns out to be like the best way to do it. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't see that happening. And then all of a sudden we do this art. Yeah, I think it would be cool to do a collection. I think some people would buy it. And it's all, and then people are trait hunting. It's going crazy. And then and then we have this supply shock thing. And it's none of this was thought out. It's just all like falling into place. Anyway, you should definitely buy Five Frogs. That's my show.
Yeah, so sorry to derail. We did want to keep it an hour, but there's just a couple things I want to discuss, and I just think it's something that nobody's really talking about regarding the frogs, and I just think that's fucking dope.
All right, y'all, pop in the Discord if you want to talk to Nick and Matt. We'll see you next week.
Have a good one, everyone.